liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly. Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade. And it's Friday. The time is 8:05 a.m. and it's a beautiful Friday.
Friday, yes. However, I don't know.
You what?
My Friday started out a complete and utter mess.
It sounds so.
It's trust me, friend. It did. It like I don't know. Like as soon as I was getting ready to leave to come, guess what happened? Like I'll literally pay you to guess what happened to me.
You forget yourself at home?
No, I actually ripped my pants.
Oh, okay. A lovely way to start off the Friday.
What a way! But Kevon, it seems like our faves over in Antigua is getting ready to pop on with us.
Yeah, they're ready for us. So let's jump into Cross Caribbean Link Up with our friends over in Antigua.
Okay, I don't know who's laughing.
Yeah, our friends from across the water.
Sorry,
over in St Kitts and Nevis. And
That's
also
what the last
in the
one.
in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, ladies and gents.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a
Good
really
morning.
good morning here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Fantastic. Well, let me just do by means of, by way of proper introduction, particularly for our friends over in Sugar City, St. Kitts. Our special guest this morning is Rhoda Barat. She's a lecturer at academic literacies at UE St. Augustine. That's, of course, in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. If you do not know, which would be unlikely, but still, by way of information. Social commentator as well via blog, and she's also a published author of short stories. So she's multi-talented, and we are honored to have her this morning. Good morning, Rhoda.
Good morning. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me on yet again. It's been a while since we've chatted with each other.
Yes,
Good
yes.
morning.
I don't know if psychologically we think, well, Trinidad on lockdown, so nothing happening.
Well, I mean, there is that possibility. I mean, even though we're on lockdown, there's a lot that is happening. There's never a dull moment on this Twin Island state.
I think we're all inclined to agree, which is why you're our guest, and we really do need to make this more frequent because it's always a great exchange.
As often as you guys are willing to have me on, I'm happy to be there.
Blessing. Thank you so much. And Jade, I don't know if you guys introduced yourselves before I joined the link. Did you? Jade Johnson.
Good morning. My name is Jade, and joining us is my co-host Kevon Hanley. We're from the little island of St Kitts. And
good morning.
Good morning. You're joining us on WINN FM for Island Tea.
Yes, a little but Talawa.
Yes, very much so.
Always and forever.
Yes, I know you would jump in on that one, Kevon. Are you familiar with that term, Talawa?
Yeah. Isn't that one of the? I know the phrase "little but Talawa," and Talawa means like kind of big, huge, muscly in a particular way. So you might be small but mighty. I think that's my interpretation of the phrase.
That's exactly what we are.
Yes.
Yeah, I have been fortunate enough to not just work at the UWI, but also be a student. Certainly from the 90s up to the mid parts of the 2000s. So I have had loads of classmates that are from different parts of the region.
Yeah, so you're certainly well schooled in in parlance.
Yes.
It's amazing. I think we are similar in terms of the way we speak. We may have different words or different names for different foods and different things that we deal with as cultural exponents. But I think by and large, they're very similar. And usually, even if I never heard the word before, or not that familiar with it, I know instinctively what the person is referring to.
Yeah, you can make out the context of the word, because there's one word that has... Okay, so you know the American phrase "you all," right?
Right.
In the Caribbean, we have three different ways we have at least three different ways of saying it. In Jamaica, it's "una." In Barbados, it's "wanna," and in Trinidad and Tobago, it's "all you." So there are at least three different ways to say "you all" in the Caribbean. But the minute you hear the phrase, you know precisely what we're referring to. You know what we're saying.
Yes, yeah, I couldn't have put it better. Kevon, how are you doing? Oh, sorry, Jade, you're going to say something?
Well, I was going to tell him to let the people know how we say it here in St. Kitts.
Yes, how do you say it in St. Kitts?
So for St. Kitts, we say, "Are you?"
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you? Yes. I have heard it. I have heard it.
And then I think what's the others? I think Dominica is "all you," so "all you."
Right, which is kind of close to how we say in Trinidad and Tobago. All you.
Right. And then I'm not sure what Antigua says. It's coming to mind.
And I know Nevis said Abby.
Yes, Nevis is Abby.
Abby. Okay. That's the first time I've heard that one.
Yes.
And I actually have a friend. Well, he now lives in Canada, but he is from Nevis originally.
So you should message him and say Abby.
Yes, I will.
Says.
I will message him and say Abby, and say why did I have to get to be this age to know that that's how you say it.
That is true. You should have let you know a long time.
You should a long time now.
So anyway, Rhoda, as our special guest this morning, tell us what y'all doing in Trinidad and Tobago. What's happening? I think the one story let me just tell you, the one story that I think I've been following somewhat closely is this
the vaccine story. Well, who are following the vaccine story, boy? Who are following that vaccine story?
I have one or two little friends, and depending on who you ask, if it's an Indian friend, you get one perspective. If it's a Trinidadian friend, you get a different perspective.
Well, listen, you know that this thing have multiple perspectives, but let me try my best to give you all of the perspectives, so that way your listeners can make an assessment for themselves, right? So I think everybody knows about the COVAX facility, wherein various governments would have put their money into COVAX, pool their money into COVAX to be able to purchase vaccines.
Right.
We were one such nation that put money into COVAX and anticipating getting vaccines from COVAX. Now, sometime in early or mid-January, we would have seen a story come up in the newspapers, basically saying that there were a significant amount of vaccines, a significant number of vaccines being donated to the Caribbean by India. The first time I heard about it would have been via a social media story. Then it was confirmed, yes, India was donating vaccines to the Caribbean. And everybody was wondering, oh, okay, all right, when are we getting vaccines? Then the next thing we heard was our opposition leader here, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, saying that our government in Trinidad and Tobago, had not asked for any of the vaccines, which made no sense to us. Right. Then she wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of India, even though she doesn't have any locus standi to do that, right? The opposition leader doesn't have, because she's not the head of government, she cannot write to another head of government to ask for anything. So it's more of a optics thing than anything else for the opposition leader to decide to write a letter. So she writes this letter. Then in the ensuing weeks, we hear a number of stories. But let me tell you what has remained consistent. The government, having found out that there were these vaccines available, wrote to the CARICOM Secretary General, who then said to the government, you have to write to the High Commissioner to India in Guyana, because it's him who has arranged for a number of different CARICOM territories to get these vaccines. Our government then writes to the Indian High Commissioner in Guyana, right? The person who's stationed in Guyana, who then says to our government via correspondence, write to your High Commissioner in Port of Spain. Now, while all of those letters are going on, our government here says that it did actually make contact with the High Commissioner in Port of Spain, who had not responded to them. So then, when they're told, write to the High Commissioner in Port of Spain, they write to the High Commissioner in Port of Spain, and he then says to them, write to Delhi. So they write to Delhi, and up until Wednesday of this week, we were awaiting some sort of response from Delhi. Now, in the interim, between us writing to our High Commissioner, Mr. Arun Sahu, and getting the advice from him to write to Delhi, our Prime Minister made some public comments basically indicating this is the first time I heard about this gift, right? That India was making gifts of vaccines. And he explains the entire scenario. Then the High Commissioner comes out to say, well, the information was out there all the time. And then the Minister of Foreign Affairs came out to say, well, yes, but we can't go and ask a nation for a gift. A gift has to be offered. And further to that, we have to go through particular channels. So if we have a High Commissioner here, the High Commissioner here ought to come to us and indicate to us, there is this gift available. And then we can indicate, okay, yes, we will be willing to accept the gift, but we can't go and say, we want a gift, please. That is just not how diplomacy happens. That's not how those things are done. Then a media house went to pharmaceuticals seminar that the Indian High Commission was hosting. This would have been around, I want to give you all some correct dates, right? So just give me a second. Let me pull up my calendar app on the phone here while I'm talking to you, because I don't want to give all your incorrect dates. So we are now, yes, all your, exactly. We are now on the 26th of March. So the 12th of March, thereabouts, I believe, Yeah, I think the 12th of March, if not the 12th of March, the 5th of March, either the 5th or the 12th, either Friday the 5th or Friday the 12th of March, there would have been a symposium. Actually, this Friday the 5th of March. There would have been a symposium that the Indian High Commission held here in Trinidad and Tobago, and they had members of the medical fraternity and other business fraternities at that symposium, and it was about people who were interested in getting into the pharmaceutical sector in India. And a reporter there asked a series of questions of the High Commissioner that he refused to answer. And some of the questions were actually, how long did he know about the vaccines? And did he ever actually inform our government here and his counterpart here, who would be the Minister of Foreign Affairs? Right. Did he ever inform them about the vaccine, the availability of the vaccines? Now, one of the other things too is when the vaccines were made available as a gift to the nation, or to the region, at that point in time, the vaccine had not yet been approved by WHO. Our government managed through Barbados to secure, I think, about 2,000 vaccines so that we could start providing vaccines to frontline healthcare workers. But we had to actually wait for WHO to approve the vaccines before we could roll out that inoculation here. And that's one of the things with that vaccine at that point in time. It had not yet received WHO approval when it was first brought in. So to date, as of now, Friday 26th of February, Friday 26th of March 2021, our government has received correspondence from the government of India promising us 40,000 vaccines. And the Chinese government has also promised us 100,000 vaccines, 100,000 of their Sinovacs. Mm-hmm. So we are expecting within, I'm hoping a short window of time, 140,000 vaccines from India and China to get here so that we can begin to roll out properly our inoculation process.
Wow.
Any questions?
Well, you said a mouthful, boy.
You did. Absolutely. So anybody who had no clue. Yeah, go ahead.
Given the nature of our politics here, this entire vaccine issue became both political and tribal, ethnically tribal. So let me explain to your listeners, who are, my cousins up north, who may not be entirely aware of how our politics rolls out. We have two major ethnic groups here. I mean, we have lots of different ethnic groups, but two major ethnic groups, Indo-Trinbagonians and Afro-Trinbagonians. And the two major political parties have their support bases within those two ethnic groups. So the sitting government, the People's National Movement, is a party that has its support base within the Afro-Trinbagonian community. And the opposition is a party that has its base within the East Indian descended community. So because the Indian High Commission and the government of India is involved in this whole transaction with respect to the vaccines, you can understand how it has been painted, right? So it went from being vaccine diplomacy to all of a sudden a race issue with respect to vaccines and vaccination.
That's unfortunate.
Yikes.
It's incredibly unfortunate, because what this really and truly boils down to is health and economics and class, right? Larger countries being able to buy up the vaccines and hold access to the vaccines, and smaller countries having to kind of wait their turn and wait until the larger countries have had their fill of the vaccines. Mm-hmm. So to decide that the reason a government does not have vaccines or has not rolled out a vaccination program is as a result of race, I think is quite unfortunate, one. And I found it instructive that there is a lot of rigmarole and doublespeak with respect to who exactly informed whom about the availability of the gift of these vaccines from India. Because we've had lots of press releases flying back and forth from the Indian High Commissioner and, of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And to date, I'll just say one particular party is avoiding answering whether or not he made things clear. I'll just put it that way.
So it sounds like this has turned from the health of the citizens being most important to now a whole political back and forth.
Listen, it was the hottest tennis match for the week. Wimbledon had nothing on us with this one. Okay,
Oh
so you
dear.
think the two most exciting male tennis players or female tennis players, or rather, let's go with one male and one female tennis player. So let's put there's that male tennis player who used to cuss a lot. I've forgotten his name now. Right, that's it. Put McEnroe on one end and put Serena Williams on the next end.
Because she
Right?
can do her cussing too, you know.
Well, no, it's just that I don't think of her as being somebody who curses a lot, but she's a very powerful, she has a huge presence on the tennis court, right? So I think that she would be able to hold her own against any male tennis player at all. So that's why I would match it up like that. That's the sort of match that a lot of people would show up to see, I think. And that this whole business of the vaccines and the whole diplomatic fracas with respect to the vaccines, yeah, it was that sort of, it was really intense. Then loads of people who aren't even interested in foreign affairs and diplomatic issues were following the story.
Yes. It had all the elements of a thriller.
Yeah. Yes.
Really did.
Things got tense. Things got really tense.
Class, politics. I mean, everything. The whole mix-up. All right, and Jade, you had a follow-up, or you wanted?
Well, I'm actually interested in hearing the views of the citizens, because these are the people that would be affected most by this. So what have the citizens in Trinidad been saying about this whole tennis match, as you call it?
It depends on ethnicity and political affiliation, because of course there's some persons who are saying the government bungled it. Then there are persons who are in support of the government saying, no, the government has not bungled this. The High Commissioner has not been clear and straightforward with the population about when he first found out about the gift and whether or not he actually had, informed the government that the gift was available. Because that's the thing that made the entire tennis match so heated. When the Prime Minister came out and gave his timeline and said, nobody said anything to us. We found out about this via social media.
So
we found out about this like the rest
via
of the population
social
from an
media.
online story. Yes.
Wow.
And he pulled no punches. I can't say that I won't say that his statements were offensive, but he was explaining something. He was being asked a question and he explained how I found out was the way the rest of the population found out.
Yikes.
Via an online story. And that's when I was like, well, you all know anything about this gift of vaccines? Of course, he would have been asking his ministers about that. Do you know anything about this gift of vaccines? And nobody seemed to have heard anything about the gift of vaccines. When I say nobody from the sitting government, whether it was foreign affairs or health, seemed to have heard anything about this gift of vaccines until the Prime Minister saw that story and asked them, how is it that the other CARICOM islands are getting access to these vaccines and we have not? So we are only this week, this Wednesday gone here, are we now being offered a gift of vaccines from India?
So so y'all haven't vaccinated anyone?
We have. When the whole gift of when the vaccines were coming to the Caribbean region, what would have happened is Dr. Rowley, the Prime Minister, would have made contact with the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mrs. Motley, Ms. Motley, sorry, and Barbados then made a gift of some of its vaccines to us. So that's how we got some vaccines to be able to inoculate doctors who are on the front line of the COVID battle here. Because, we run an entire parallel healthcare system, right?
Yeah.
When the pandemic hit here, we actually allocated specific hospitals just for dealing with COVID. So that way, people who are COVID positive, they're not going to the hospitals where the rest of the population are going for clinics and treatment and whatever. They go to specific hospitals and specific quarantine areas. So our government managed to get a gift of I think about 2,000 vaccines from Barbados, and they use that to inoculate the doctors who are on the absolute front line of this COVID fight.
2,000.
Right, because we saw when, like you said, when the regions started receiving vaccines, we saw a lot of countries gifting each other vaccines. I'm guessing because, like, for example, I think St Kitts was gifted a few from the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Yeah.
And other countries were gifting each other. And, we saw for the people on social media in other islands, we saw Trinidad issuing vaccines, and we saw the photos of people being given vaccines, but we had no idea that it was solely from the regional gifting and not, not because you guys were not receiving any at all.
Solely for regional gifting. And, okay.
And that's barely a
so
dent. 2,000?
Now, here's the thing. Part of the concern here locally is that people are wondering if the Indian High Commissioner here is possibly or has possibly allowed himself to get involved in local politics. That's one of the questions raised. I mean, when the back and forth started to take place, and of course questions are being raised about, okay, did you inform the government that this gift was available? And is there evidence that you informed the government? Because, of course, that question was asked, right? Is there evidence? Because obviously there'd have to be correspondence back and forth.
Email,
if you're
something.
putting up, whether it's emails, whatever it is, there has to be some sort of trail, whether it's a digital trail or a hard copy trail, wherein you made it known to them, this gift from our government is available, is going to be this number of vaccines, 500,000 vaccines to the region. What quantity of this do you want? And to date, like I said, it was one of the questions raised to the High Commissioner at an event that he was hosting, and he refused to answer the questions. This is at the pharmaceutical symposium. When journalists started asking him questions about the vaccine, he said, no questions about the vaccine. Now, you're at a pharmaceutical symposium in the middle of a pandemic.
What better place to ask?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, the symposium is going to almost solely be about COVID because of the climate we're in at the moment. Exactly. To say no questions about COVID, then why did you even show up?
Exactly. Now the thing is, even if the symposium was not about the pharmaceutical sector, because of the role that India and China and Russia are playing now in terms of vaccine diplomacy and using the gift of vaccines as a sort of soft diplomacy tactic, there is no way that any intelligent reporter is not going to raise questions about vaccines and the availability of vaccines from India's pharmaceutical sector to Trinidad and Tobago, because we have the largest Indian diasporic community in the Caribbean. You understand? And we have one of the oldest relationships in the Caribbean with India as an independent nation. India became independent in 1948, somewhere thereabouts. And our then premier, Eric Williams, he and the then premier, Jawaharlal Nehru, they had ties, they had very, very good ties of friendship, right? Because Nehru would have invited Williams to India, all kinds of things. So the two countries have a long history together, a long history, even if it is only at the level of descendants from India now live in our country and have multiple generations. So how can you bypass the Caribbean country that has such a long diplomatic history with you, long diplomatic ties with you, and has the largest diasporic community in the region. How is that even possible? And how is it because we have a whole high commission here, and we weren't aware, we weren't told, based on what the Prime Minister has said. There was no official offer of this gift of vaccines, and nobody has refuted that. I want to say that there's been no refutation of that claim made by the Prime Minister,
which gives it or lends credibility to
yes. The High Commission eventually issued a statement, and the statement was pretty vague in terms of responding to that. Basically what the gist of the statement was, well, the information was there, other nations knew about it. Yes, other nations knew about it, but was this government told?
I mean, I feel like this government should be the government to know about something that's happening in their country.
Well, right, because we are the host country for this particular commissioner. So how did you not tell your host, hey, we have this gift that is available? So if all you follow are the press releases back and forth between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here and the Indian High Commission, that alone is a story.
Wow.
Yes.
That alone is a story, because you're reading it and you're looking for what is said and for what is not being said.
So it sounds like there's this
serve and volley tennis.
Yeah, it sounds like there's this little battle going on between the people in charge in Trinidad, and even as the High Commissioner, like if they ask me a question of that magnitude, and I know I can't give a definite answer because I may have to talk to somebody or, speak to the people who are over me before I say something that would be totally wrong. Saying that no questions about COVID isn't going to help in the way that I think he thought it would. That would just raise more questions.
I agree with you entirely. To me, to decide that certainly at a symposium like that, right? And he answered no questions on the vaccine. It's not a situation where he fielded some question. None at all. He left the symposium, right? The way in which the reporter wrote the story, the reporter basically stated that when the following questions were raised, the High Commissioner waved his hands off and he said, no questions about the vaccine, and left the room.
He missed me.
Oh boy.
Boy, what a way to fumble that bag, boy.
Jay, you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Yeah?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Just a couple of interesting tidbits here about vaccinations throughout the region. Antigua and Barbuda have to start at home. Charity begins at home. We have a population of just under 100,000 persons. We've already vaccinated almost 26,000. And this was 2 days ago. Yes. I'm bragging now.
Yeah, you
Kevon.
could go ahead. No, you could take
should.
this one. This is the one time we're going to let you get it win.
7,580. Granted, your population is about half ours, so
Wait,
that's
sorry,
fine.
what was
Right.
our current vaccination total is 8,291.
Oh, God, you see? All right, Jade. Anyway, we
Get
still,
your figures correct, sir.
well, this actually, I did say that this was dated yesterday. I got this yesterday. So
But the one for yesterday, yeah, this is the one from yesterday is the one I'm reading. It's actually 8,000.
Well, if it was created yesterday, it would have probably been compiled with probably Wednesday's data.
Yeah, this says as of Thursday, 25th March, we are 25.1% vaccinated.
all right,
Yeah.
very well.
That is great. So
Yes.
if I get a flight, I can move to.
I mean, once you do your 2-week
Take your pick.
quarantine, we'll welcome you with open arms.
I have no issues
Well,
at all
we-
going through the quarantine, because I mean, if you came to Trinidad, you'd have to do at least 7 days quarantine.
Oh, 7?
Oh no, he is 14.
No, it's as I'm saying, it's at least 7 days quarantine. If you come
or at
in
least.
Mhm.
Okay.
and you come in with your PCR test at the start and it's negative, you do 7 days state quarantine, and then once you are negative at the end of that 7 days, you're allowed to go home and do 7 more days of home quarantine.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Ours is the full 14 at a facility. Or if you choose to do it at home, but if you do it at home, you have to have security, so they don't just
you have
they
to
don't just
pay
trust you to
you
do
have
it.
to hire security to basically stand
Oh, okay.
outside your home
Yeah,
for
they don't-
I think here
for 14 days.
Oh, okay. No, I think what we do here is the police takes information from you and they call and they check.
Oh no. We're not
Yes.
trusting people to do that. So we literally
Listen.
have security that you have to have.
We're almost up against the clock here. My next guest is actually in studio, starting to move to his music in his head.
Oh, boy.
I just want to ask you very quickly, Rhoda,
Sure.
when is Trinidad going to open? Because, I mean, that is the open question. When
If
is
Trinidad
That is okay. Well, our prime minister would have said sometime late last year at a press conference, so it might have been early this year. I mean, COVID has me so out of the loop with respect to time now. He would have indicated that our borders will not be open back up until we hit a particular percentage in terms of vaccination.
I think that's
So
the
for
same
us,
thing here too.
Yes,
you have
everything.
Rhoda, because you've
Yes,
only,
we do. Yes, we do.
Kevon, we have to
Yes, we
cross
do.
Trinidad off our list.
So I am just letting you know that it will be a while before you and I can see each other and embrace each other. That's all I'm letting you know.
Oh dear.
I'm looking forward to that. Well, let me tell you, before we go, just as a final point, to put a final point on our conversation, somebody says, love Rhoda, follow her blog, she's real. That's one listener. So you have
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I do a video blog called News Source. So thank you so much.
I will certainly check that out. And also, before we go, somebody is telling me, okay, in Antigua, we do say y'all, as in Y. And somebody says that some of us say, are you, as in, are you over there? You know?
Yes. Are you?
So the listeners are chiming in on that particular issue. And I think at that point, we gotta call it a wrap. All right?
Guys, ladies and gents, thanks for having me. Thanks
No
for having me. It was
problem.
a lot of fun. Take care.
You were
Bye.
fantastic, as expected. Jade, great questioning. And Kevon, yes, always bigging up your home country, St Kitts. Nothing
Of
wrong with
course.
that. Charity begins at home. I'm not hearing you, Kevon. You're on mute. Kevon, you're on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, I must have accidentally muted myself. But yes, always and forever.
Always and forever. Big up to Sugar City. All right. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much. This was absolute fun. Smashing
Okay.
See you next
Take
Friday, or hear you next
Bye.
Friday.
fun. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Excellent way to...
Okay, Kevon. What?
So-
Well, oh boy, poor Trinidad boy.
I
What?
mean, that was actually fascinating to learn about because we see a lot of the countries because I guess the standard social protocol is when the ministers are being vaccinated or the frontline workers, there's some sort of documented press conference for it.
Yeah.
And
But 2000
I saw some
vaccines,
clips
though?
from
Wow.
Trinidad, but I had no idea that was solely because of the gift from the Barbados.
Yeah,
and
I
that
just
is because
assume all-
Trinidad didn't receive any.
Yeah, I just assumed all countries kind of have, a quantity of vaccines because, I'm not sure which vaccine they have, but if it's the AstraZeneca, then technically it's only 1,000 people that they can vaccinate because it's 2 doses.
Right, because the only single dose is the Johnson & Johnson, and I don't think the region is getting Johnson & Johnson because most of the COVAX and the gifts have been AstraZeneca. So
Oh boy, they're in for
that 2,000 that they received is only enough for 1,000 persons.
Yeah, and Trinidad
really
is
hope that
huge, so they're in for a long fight, boy.
Right.
Well,
Actually, let me find out what the population of Trinidad is actually. Dad.
I know it's way more than 1,000. way more than 1,000. But we wish them all the best. And
Trinidad population is 1.3 million. Well, almost 1.4 million.
And
So.
oh, okay. Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, Kevon, let's talk about some. Speaking of COVID, let's talk about something that's happening with tourism, because I know we've been kind of touching on some tourism things this week, briefly, but so we have some news that we can read when it comes to the tourism industry.
Yeah, so the tourism stakeholders meeting took place. The public health success of the year-long COVID-19 situation The measures have been drawn praise and favorable recommendations, and we get praises from the CDC.
Oh, nice.
via rating for being a country that has confirmed 44 cases, no deaths, and 42 recoveries. So only 2 cases are active, and those 2 cases are currently in quarantine or isolation. So that success, though, has come at a price, with thousands unemployed, many struggling to make ends meet, and no clear indication as to when the vital tourism industry will welcome travelers by air or sea without stringent quarantine measures. So on Wednesday, March 24th, tourism officials in people who depend on airline passengers for business and their livelihood at a forum organized at the St Kitts Marriott Resort. The question and answer section captured the issues on everyone's mind. The CEO of St Kitts Tourism Authority, Raquel Brown, explained the stance of local officials. She said, "It comes down to us in the industry for us to have any discussion with the task force where we sit down from 6 months ago is vaccination. It's not just your protocols. It's a stark reality. There are other destination territories, yes, that have started. Vaccination does not mean that they do not have spikes. There are risks involved, but where we sit now, not even 10% of our tourism industry is not vaccinated. That is totally unacceptable." So the CMO, Dr. Hazel Laws, in one of her responses said that it will be difficult to accept vaccinated cruise ships if the country does not achieve herd immunity because of the risk of community transmission of the virus. The head of the NEOC task force, this acronym just stressed me out. Abdia Samuel responded to the questions about the mandatory vaccines. So, there's things being talked about. There's, the possibility of vaccinated cruise ships. But somebody asked, I think it was yesterday on the live, that they don't understand. They said, "I find it strange that even if one takes the vaccine, one still has to mask up and social distance." And then, we're going to have Dr. Sebastian on the show next week to help us explain. He's going to explain this, because I think we talked about it before, but it doesn't hurt to say it again.
But
because,
I mean,
the vaccine does not prevent you.
Yeah, that's the most important thing
The vaccine does not. It's not like a save all be all. It's not going to prevent you from getting COVID. What it does, it prevents you from basically succumbing to COVID.
Yeah, it doesn't stop you from spreading or getting it, but it helps you to not die at least. And
it just, so you think about it like this. And Dr. Sebastian's going to explain it much better, but think about it like this. You can take, when you get a cold, you can take a lot of paracetamol and vitamin C. It doesn't prevent you from getting the cold. It just tries to keep you from it getting really bad.
Yeah,
and
it's like when we have flu season in December. Like, your friends and your family members might have the cold, and you start to take your vitamins and you drink your bush tea and all these things.
Yeah,
it doesn't
and then you still get sick.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get sick.
It just means that you're going to, you probably won't suffer as
bad, or you might
as you would.
And after, because remember we was talking about the after effects of COVID,
the long-term effects.
Yeah, so you might that's what he said, right? You won't have those, you won't have to suffer with those once you're vaccinated. So you might still get COVID, yes, but you won't have it as bad as you would have gotten it without the vaccination, just by yourself.
So that's all that the vaccine does, and and this is exactly what the CMO was explaining, that it's difficult to accept vaccinated cruise ships because yes, while the passengers on the cruise ship will be vaccinated, and
they will have the test as well,
right?
But
that doesn't mean that they don't have COVID, and if they do have COVID and interact with persons who are not vaccinated in public, then in the local public, they can pass COVID on to people who are not as, immunizedly boosted as they are.
And we have to also remember when it comes to cruises go to different ports. So it's not like they're just going.
That's the thing too.
Yeah, it's not like they're just hopping on the boat after they have the negative COVID test and then coming straight here. They're going to different places, and you don't know what they might pick up when they go to the different countries. So this, I guess, this is why.
Let's say this cruise does 5 countries.
We might be the fifth.
Number 5 on the list.
Yeah.
So when you stop in Cayman and you catch, a group of people catch COVID there, and you stop in the Bahamas, you catch COVID there, you stop in Antigua, you catch COVID there, and then when you get to St Kitts, there's now a boat full of people that are now, unintentionally COVID zombies. So
I wonder if, I wonder with even when I wonder if when we get to the point where we're accepting cruise ships, if it's going to be a case where before they get off the boat, they have to test again. Like, so for instance, at each port stop, they have to test before they come off the ship to just make sure that,
like do rapid testing to get rapid results.
Yeah.
It's I'm sure these are all conversations that are happening, and hopefully they make some wise decisions, because that wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
No, it wouldn't.
But COVID.
So let's jump into something that I think we talked about this last week on the link up. Yeah, we did talk about this last week on the link up, but we could have a follow-up discussion on it. So yeah. So
let's talk about the situation that's happening at the University of West Indies. So UWI, the global reputation, is currently in danger of being almost knocked on my camera, of being severely damaged if the Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles' term of office is not renewed. More than 100 members of the international academic community have warned in a petition. The sobering message is contained in a strongly worded letter of concern to the Council of UWI and some 142 academics from universities, colleges, and other institutions from across the globe are pushing for the outgoing Vice Chancellor's reappointment. Most of the scholars are professors from such higher educational institutes as Harvard University, Yale University, the University College of London, other represents such as University, New York University, Syracuse University, Rhodes University. All of these universities, people are teaming up to say reappoint. They've been particularly worried that the renowned Barbadian historian, his contract may not be renewed because of his outspokenness on issues of justice, equity, and ethics. As the globe-trotting chairman of the CARICOM Reparations Commission, Sir Hilary has spearheaded the region's advocacy for the Caribbean's former slave-holding and colonizing European states to honor the historical debt owed to the Caribbean through slavery and colonialism. The petition said, "We thus implore the leaders of the UWI, regional leaders, and the Council of University of the West Indies to uphold the highest values on which the institution is built. Professor Beckles should not be subjected to recriminations for his scholar activism. To do so, you would have to have a chilling effect on the younger generations of scholars at a time, globally, when ethical resolve is needed more than ever. In addition, this will bring irreparable damage to the international reputation of UWI." So,
well, you see what I don't understand, right? Isn't this what you want for your graduates, for them to see the examples of people that are standing on things that make sense? Like, you don't want a strong leader that shows the example that Mr. Beckles is showing. I'm so confused to why they don't.
Would you do that?
Like, what isn't that what we teach? That's not what we teach the younger generation, that to stand up for what's right and to stand on things that you believe in. So now why, when he's doing all of that, you want to punish him? I'm so confused.
Right. I don't know.
I am quite confused about this one.
What a world we live in.
What a world.
And the sad part about this is all, like everything. Puppets, this is puppet string pulling, somebody somewhere is just not happy with this, and it's pulling strings to make sure that this man is not reappointed.
I don't, boy, I don't. And you know what? I think this might backfire on that person because the more they push and the more they try to, stay in his legacy, the more people rallying behind him, as we can see. Because the
Yeah.
people saying, let me tell you something. One thing we're not going to do is play with Mr. Beckles. So you could say what you want, but you better put him back. Boy.
So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully this is, I don't want to say resolved, but I hope this, this situation is handled properly and,
Because I mean, you don't want the last thing you want is a bunch of your staff dropping out. One, because they don't agree with you removing this man that they follow, this man that they want to lead them, and then you don't want a bunch of students then dropping out because they're saying, well, we don't want no new vice chancellor or whatever. We want who we had. And it's funny, like, students back then, students now are more of people that will speak their minds and say what they feel and action. Because even recently, I think it was this month or last month, when we saw that there was some protests at CFB. I don't think we got to cover it, but I really wanted to. But there was some protests at CFB because the students were fed up of with whatever they saw that was going on, and they spoke out about it. So y'all play with these kids. But Kevon, we have a call.
I think I hope. Yeah,
Caller
we have a
went.
call.
No, the
not
caller
anymore.
left. Okay.
There's strength in numbers, and if enough people rally behind something, it's sort of unstoppable. Because if all of these students, or enough students decide to pull out because of a decision, the university is gonna tank.
It is.
So
the university will feel the effects of the students and teachers and faculty members deciding, well, if y'all don't want Mr. Beckles, then we don't want y'all. And then guess what? School closed just later. And I think we live in a society now where people are more outspoken about things that they don't agree with, from younger people to older people. They're just not standing up. They're just not standing for the usual things. Like, you're just not going to bully them anymore. They're going to say what they feel, and we see it all the time now. We're in a protest time, so y'all, as I said, continue play with them students till y'all ain't have no students.
Right. So,
but we'll continue to follow this to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna follow this story, and we're probably gonna try to follow the Trinidad story too to see how that.
Definitely will, because again, having 1,000 vaccines for a population that big, they're going to have to figure it out. But Kevon, you think we should take a teensy weensy break?
I think we should do a break, and then we come back to more news.
Okay, but before we take a break, let's take this last call, and then we'll just jump into our break. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Hi, good morning, Jade. I thought I should weigh in on your topic, Hillary Beckles.
Mm-hmm.
As I listened, yesterday I attended, not attended, but I listened, or it's on Facebook. I don't know if I shared the link with you. There was the Vice Chancellor's panel discussion yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I shared it on my Facebook page, so you could probably access it on the reparations page as well. So it was really good, and he did get some support from the some of the panelists actually mentioned support. But as you're talking about it, you and Kevon are talking about it, and some of the things that you're saying, I'm wondering whether people will actually stand up. I know they're standing up, but put it this way. There may be some elements, and I don't think it's just one person who may be making that move against them. I think it may be a group for whatever reason. That's what I am thinking, because we know what he has been doing. So there may be some force that's moving to unseat him or to not renew his contract, like they're saying, right? Maybe you said, you asked the question, why is it when someone is standing up that you know, and this is what we want people to do, why are they going against that? Why are they trying to diminish that? The thing is, that has always happened. When you have some strong force, people will try to make it seem like the rebels need to be unseated, like we are not supposed to stand up for rights. And, you know, it is only a fraction. While we are saying people will not do this, maybe they will resign and so on. You know, at the end of the day, it comes down to your bottom line, the fact that you have to pay your bills and so on. So how many people are actually going to risk their livelihood for this person? So those are the things I'm thinking about. Like, you know, how many people will at the end of the day stand up? How many students will actually risk, you know, and that is, I think at the end of the day, that is the sort of human behavior that we may see play out. So while there's all this talk, I mean, people may say, who is the rest of the world to tell them? They could say, who's the rest of the world to tell them who to have as the vice chancellor? You know, and all of these questions are what's popping up in my head. I don't know what you know, I'm just throwing it out there. At the same time, sometimes we put people on pedestals. Some might say, oh, I don't like him anyway. You know, so it's not everybody who likes, may like him. And some may, you know, may actually want to see him go. So I'm just throwing all of this out. Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, that is also true. You know, we will have to wait and see. Like, words are one thing, but how many people are willing to lay down and actually put some action to place? So thank you, Carlo, for your input. That words to think about. So Kevon, we'll jump into a very quick break. Yes, and then we'll be back with more conversation right here on Island Tea.
Mm-hmm.
Found the sound 99.9 WINN FM.
To avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
The symptoms of the coronavirus are similar to those of the common flu or cold, which are consistent coughing and sneezing, fever that does not go away, and difficulty breathing. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, it is advisable to stay at home until you recover, or if you want to go to your doctor, call first and tell your doctor of your symptoms, any recent travel or contact with travelers. And lastly, please avoid spitting in public. Recent cases have shown that people most likely to be at risk if they contract the virus are persons over age 60 and persons that have an underlying medical condition such as hypertension, diabetes, kidney disease, or a respiratory condition. It is advisable to avoid large crowds or other places where you might have to come in contact with people who are showing signs of the coronavirus. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
all of these making software, I'm making software, and I have never did right in the middle. And I have to find something to do. So yes, I don't have to. But I just started having
Welcome back.
Yes, we are back after that break. We have some
welcome
beautiful
back to
ladies.
Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade. And we are jumping into, I'm going to say Eat Local.
Yes,
with
it is.
our friend from Inland Revenue.
Good morning, ladies. How are you guys this morning?
We're fine, thanks.
We're good, thank you.
Okay, y'all sound fine. Y'all are ready to tell us?
Yes. So before we jump into it, let's just let the listeners and viewers know who we have in studio. So do you mind introducing yourselves for our listening and viewing audience?
Sure. I am Makisha Richardson. I have Miss Olay Apprentice and Miss Vanessa Jeffers here with us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Olay Apprentice.
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Jeffers.
Good morning. Well, that was very short. That was very short. Oh my gosh.
Well, we all are from the Inland Revenue Department, St Kitts.
Okay, and what do you guys have for us this morning? I'm pretty sure y'all just not here just to see our faces.
No, we're not.
Pull your mic closer. Anyone, just yeah. You have to speak into the mic so the lovely people could hear you. Is it too loud? Okay. Is that better?
Okay, we're here this morning just to... I can hear.
Go ahead. You could tell while your colleague gets set up. You could tell us why you're here this morning so the people could know.
Okay, good morning. We are from the Inland Revenue Department to speak about the business and occupational license. A business and occupational license is required before the start of any business. Before the start of doing any other business legally. In other words, if you're a small, a medium, or large business, it has to be required to once you're collecting any kind of revenues. If you don't have a business license, it means that you're operating illegally. Each activity that any business performs with a cost. For example, a construction contractor is $500. A landscaper is $100. The cost varies from $100 to about $1,500, depending on the activity that one wants to perform. The business license is valid for 1 year. That is, it's from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, and is renewed on or before the 31st of January of the following year. We will now hear from Ms. Ole Prentice, who will further elaborate on the business license.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to our listening audience. The business and occupation license was extended, and renewal date was extended from January 31st, 2021 to March 31st as a result of the current pandemic that we are faced with. I would also like to say also that the liquor license also was extended from January 31st to March 31st. So we are impressing upon our business and occupation license holders to visit the department before the 31st of March, which is next Wednesday, I do believe. To avoid a rush, you're encouraged to come in and pay your license. Now, if you are late in making your payment, there are penalties and interest which applies. For instance, the penalty is $50 for the first day and then $100 per month that you do not make your payment. So $100 every month, it remains unpaid. There's also a 10% late payment penalty and a 1% interest per month, which is charged. Now, persons who have years of business license outstanding, you'll be required to make those payments before you can get the current year's license, business license in hand. Okay, so we encourage persons who may have not paid for say for instance, the last 3-4 years to visit the department and have a discussion with one of our officers who will be happy to provide you with some assistance. Now, if your business is currently closed as a result of the pandemic and you have no intention of continuing the business, we're encouraging you to visit the department and complete what we call the termination of registration so that we can terminate the business. Without you doing that, we have no idea whether or not your business is still operating. Hence, we would of course expect you to make your business license payments. Okay, so if your business is closed, you have no intention of operating, we encourage you to come in and complete your termination registration form. If you are temporarily closed and you plan to operate in the future, for instance, the next 3-4 months, you can still pay your business license. Come in, make your business license payment to retain your license so that you don't have to go through the whole process again when we're ready to operate. Now, as my colleague said, there is different charges in regards to the business licenses. And we want to stress that it's illegal for anyone who is operating a business and gaining revenue from that business and not having a business license. It is illegal. And there are fines and penalties in regards to that. So you should be mindful of that, right? There's a fine of $150 if you're convicted, up to 3 months imprisonment. So that is key for persons to remember. So if you know you are operating a business, we encourage you to visit the department, get an application form to take to the Ministry of Finance to apply for your business license. You can also receive the business license application form from the Ministry of Finance or by visiting their website at www.mof.gov.kn. So with that, I'd like to encourage persons to, don't forget, avoid a rush, come into the department, make your business license payment, and if you have any challenges, speak to one of our officers.
Okay, so people here, I hope you heard that. They are speaking solely to the business people right now. This is some information that I'm sure that you were wondering about. My friend in the red looks so nervous. What happened? What happened? You talk to people all the time. Why is it because you're on camera now? It's only on the camera. They're probably enjoying seeing you guys give them this information rather than just hearing it.
That's true.
They need to put some faces to the information. Yeah, they need to know who. In case I have a question, who do I ask? No, they can see.
That's true.
Yeah. So repeat some of this information for the listeners and viewers again, please, so they can let it soak in that these things are important and this is the steps that they have to take.
Okay, so to operate your business, you do require a business license. In the absence of a business license, we ask that you apply at the Ministry of Finance in order to do so, because doing so without the business license, you are operating illegally, and caught operating illegally carries fines and penalties. On conviction, it's $150 or 3 months imprisonment. Okay?
3 months.
Yes.
I hope people heard that. Very important information. 3 whole months.
Yes.
Don't think anybody wants that.
That's correct.
At all.
And the business license payment due date is the 31st of March, which was extended from January 31st. The same applies to the liquor license.
So next
as well.
week?
Yes.
Next week,
Wednesday.
Okay.
And that is the same date for liquor license as well. Now, the liquor license also applies, have interest, 1% interest per month. So we're
That's
encouraging
not too bad, eh?
No, it's not. We're encouraging persons to come in, and if you don't have your stub, you have to visit the court house to get your stub to present it to the department. Okay? So if your business is closed, like I said, and you have no intention of continuing the business, you visit the department and you complete what we call a termination of registration form, so that we can terminate your business with us.
Yeah.
Failure to do that, the department assumes that you're operating your business. I would
Yeah.
expect you to do your filings, your tax returns, stuff like that.
Yeah, don't be caught off guard and then say, well, I didn't know and my business not operating.
That is correct, yes. And every month you haven't filed your tax return, there's a $100 fee applied to it with your unincorporated business tax every month.
So people
right?
listening,
So,
$100.
Yeah. So the first day is $50. After that is $100
Oh, dear.
every month that it remains unpaid, or the filing remains unfiled.
Question: Do you guys like call people and let them know like you have an outstanding, you need to come in and pay, you're racking up a charge?
Yes.
Okay, so they can't say they don't know.
We have what we call a follow-up call or a follow-up check, either field work or we do it by phone. But we go through their accounts internally, and then we call them and let them know, well, you have this amount outstanding, please, to avoid the late fees, banking up, come in, get it straightened up. An officer is always ready and waiting to assist them, because at the end of the day, we're not trying to make them feel uncomfortable or on the edge. We are officers that will listen, and we create an environment that at the end of the day, when they leave, they're comfortable knowing that, yes, we got it fixed and everything is okay, and it's smooth sailing after that.
How long before you give that follow-up call?
Well, normally after you've done your registration, our follow-up is 3 months after that.
Okay.
Which the taxes are every quarter. It's March, June, September, or December. So we actually catch you. We actually catch you before the due date of that one to let you know it's time to file. And if we have to do an advisory all over again of explaining to them how to go about doing it, we do that as well.
Okay, so they can't say that y'all waited until the bills start to rack up.
We push education and compliance.
That's all we need, education.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you are operating, but you're temporarily closed, but you wish to operate in the future, say for instance the next 3 months, in the next 3 months, we encourage you to still pay your business license, because you do have intent to carry on your business. Bear in mind, if you do close the business, you'll have to apply all over again to the Ministry of Finance, and you don't want to have to go through that process, because it can be, depending on what type of business it is, there may be a lengthy process.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so if I am not operational and I decide, okay, well, since I'm not operational, it don't make sense for me to be paying these fees and stuff, and I close down my business, I will have to then go, if I decide to start my business over again, start the whole process over.
Yes, that is correct. So, which is why we encourage you, if you know within yourselves that you plan to continue the business at some point, you make payments for the business license.
How long does it usually take for the process to go through? If I'm starting from fresh, how long is the process?
When the registration basically depends on the activity you're doing. For instance, if you're doing a construction, as the lady states, that one don't need much of other business departments being involved. So right away, that is smooth sailing of registration. The the Ministry of Finance prepare your documents and they do the approval and they would send it down to us. Now, if you're doing anything with food, definitely, the health department is going to be involved. If you're doing anything with liquor, definitely, the police department is going to be involved. So that might take a little longer process. But just so that the general public knows, the officers are very efficient, so they move as fast as they can to get your license approved. Now, when it comes to Inland Revenue Department, we straight off the bat register, log, and call the taxpayer and make an appointment so that they can come in, do the registration, get the advisory, and they receive their business license that they can display in their place of business to show, yes, we are legally operating.
Which is important.
Very important.
Yeah, we don't want to have any mishaps because you don't have the documentation.
Especially when you're dealing with food.
Especially when you especially when it comes to food.
So we were talking about the fact that if you stop operating your business and then you want to start again, you have to start the process all over again. And then you also mentioned if you plan to continue the business, you have to come and pay your taxes. Go through step by step. What happens if you don't do what you should do and you would like to open a business? What then happens?
Repeat the question, Kevon.
So if you operate in a business, you want to stop the business for a while, and then you want to reopen it in the next couple of months, but you have not paid your taxes. What happens then when I show up to say, okay, I want to start this over again? What's the process? What happens?
Well, bear in mind you didn't close the business. You're just not operating, but you didn't pay a business license. You never visited to terminate the business, so your business is basically still open. But it's just that the department was not aware. You didn't inform us.
Right.
Right? So you come in, you make your business license payment. But bear in mind, because you're late, you have interest and penalties. Unless it's a case where, you can write to the controller, of course, explain your reason why you're late, and there's some consideration can be given. But it's not just off the bat. Of course, we need something in writing to explain what's the reason behind you not paying your business license, and then the controller will make an informed decision and move from there.
Okay, so what about for people who decide, okay, well, men doing a renewal, are you going to just operate? How do you guys figure out who these persons are?
Well, that's a challenge. Honestly, it is a challenge.
Until you get caught.
Yes.
Or someone reports you.
Okay.
Because, people tend to say, well, I'm trying to do my business legally, but yet here is someone who lives in my area who doesn't have a business license and is operating. So I might reach out and make a phone call and report you.
We also ask the general public that, because when we finish the registration, we ask the taxpayers to display their license. So we also ask the general public that when they go into a place of business and they does not see an up-to-date business license, they too can come in and let us know. They help us. We work with each other because at the end of the day, it's based on communication. Now, when we work together, we're able to make sure that these people are legally operating, and you feel better going into their place and spending your money because they're also going to give back to the government.
So when I go into a business place, I'm supposed to make sure, well, as a consumer, I should always check to see if there's a business license displayed.
Yes.
I'm assuming the businesses are supposed to display it in a place that everyone
can see. Yes. Your visual, when you walk in, you'll be able to see it.
Okay. And if I don't see it, call
Nothing is wrong with asking. Nothing is wrong with asking them.
Because
they may have it stored away.
Yeah.
But we stress to the general public that they should display it. And it's something that we tell them when they're doing their registration.
Because my question was going to be, is there a fine or penalty for not displaying it? But I think I don't think it's mandatory, but it's suggested that you display it.
Well, we're working on making it mandatory, so I guess a fine will come in place. But for now,
but for now, it's not mandatory.
No, but for now, we stress on it before they leave. Kindly display it, because when we even go about doing our follow-up checks, that is something that we look for. And if we don't, as officers, we'll ask them to display.
Okay.
But I just want to add here, though, that it's in the Act, the Business and Occupation License Act, it actually states that it should be displayed conspicuously in your place of business.
Where can people find this act? Because I don't want nobody to say, well, I didn't even know they had a Business and Occupation Act, because, you know, any excuse when you're in trouble. So where can people definitely find this act?
It can be found on our website.
And what's the website?
Well, our website is actually www.sknird.com.
Okay.
But if persons can also walk in, and we'll be able to, even if they need something written on a document, we'll also be able to provide it.
I have another question. So when I'm signing up as a business, is this a piece of documentation that I get as well?
You get it. When you repeat yourself?
If I'm a new business owner and I'm signing up and to get my business license, is there a package that I receive with all the information? Is this is the act in the
No. Well, the act is not placed in it, and maybe it's something that we should start working on. But for now, yes, we do give a package. The package actually entails the information that we give when we give the advisory. So they have stuff that they actually can look back on if they forget. It's placed inside. There's a card that have on their taxpayer's number. There's an example of how to file their quarterly forms. There's also an example of the slip for when the due dates are. So there's a lot of stuff that inside brochures. There's stuff that inside that they can look back on. And if not, we always stress that they walk in. Don't stay and act like, I wonder what. Or keep seeing the mail come in and avoiding the mail. We ask you to walk in, because communication is very important. We can't stay in the office and know that you're doing something at home at your business place, and unless you come and tell us something, we won't know how to function. We will think that you understand and you're doing it right.
Yeah, I agree. So for people who decide, you know what, again, I am not following these rules, I'm just doing whatever, what are the penalties that come with being caught without your business license or without an up-to-date business license?
$150 is the cost.
Imprisonment.
If you're convicted, 3 months imprisonment. So it's important to ensure you have your business license, doing things legally.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to get caught.
Well, one of our hosts is actually saying that the packet is very informative. So kudos to you guys. Y'all are doing a great job with giving the information that people need. So nobody could say that they didn't know or they don't understand. And if you don't understand and you don't ask, that is on you.
Well, at the end of the day, we're not trying to put fear in taxpayers.
Yes.
We are trying to build awareness. We're not stopping here. We are going to continue coming on the air and educating the general public as much as we can.
Well, y'all welcome here anytime.
Yes,
so.
Thank you. So we don't want you guys to just stay home and think I'm not doing something right. Or just visit the office. The officers are willing and able, equipped, ready to serve you as much as possible.
Can you get this information over the phone as well? Let's say I'm not able to come in.
Yes.
What's the number for them to call?
Well, our contact number for St Kitts is 465-8485, and our Nevis branch is 469-5856. And they can also go on our Facebook page or on our email address, which is inlandrevenue@ird.gov.kn.
And for people who, the one-off person who may not know where the Inland Revenue Department is, can you tell them where you can find the offices, please?
Where we're located on the Bay Road, opposite the post office, as we would say, in the John Gums building. Yes.
And what about Nevis?
Charlestown.
Just on the opposite side of National Bank.
And our opening hours are 8 to 3 for the cashier and 8 to 4 for general inquiries. And we have a question that's raised from time to time. Persons ask how the payment. We let them know whether it's cash, check, card as well. and online. And for checks,
you can pay online.
Yes.
What you say?
Let me say this about our. Let me speak about our e-services.
Okay. Yes.
Our e-services, Inland Revenue has taken it on another level. So to avoid long lines, I'm sure you see from time to time, you walk down there, you see these long lines. We have made it so sweet that the taxpayers can go online, file their taxes online, and even better, they can renew their driver's license online, their wheel tax online, pay their property taxes
They have
online.
to leave my house.
Anywhere you are in the world, even in your front room, in your shorts, whatever, however you want to pay your taxes, that is our e-services platform that we have created. So if anybody is interested in doing registration, they can go on our website, which, as said before, is www.sknird.com, or send an email, inlandrevenue@ird.gov.kn.
So, Kevon, you hear that? Even with you being out in
Of course,
space.
but then we always, right, we also have, tell us about the app. Because you guys have an app, right?
Yes, Kevon, we have an app, but it's not launched as yet. But it has, that's something.
Okay, it's still not launched.
It's not launched as yet, and when it's launched, you'll know.
We can't wait.
Because that, again, we are moving forward. We are, being innovative, with technology. So yes, the app is coming, but it's just not launched as yet.
So just to confirm, I'm one of our hosts who isn't here today. He's asking if you can renew your business license online.
That is not online at the moment. We're actually in the process of working towards that.
Okay,
but that's going to take some time.
So it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Okay.
Like I said, we're in the business of making things easier for our taxpayers.
Let me tell you something. Not having to leave my house and just go online and just hit a button makes my life so much easier, and I'm sure it makes a lot of people's life way easier, because sometimes you really don't have the time to go down into town and stand in line to wait until it's your turn to go and pay, because you might have a lunch hour, you might have things that you have to do, and the time just doesn't permit. So being able to do these things online, I wish more businesses was like y'all.
And registration is a very quick process. Because from you send us your information, we're going to register you, and we're going to send you back an email with your user ID and password, and also the instructions. You have the guide that you can follow that even made it much friendlier.
I feel like y'all just making people's lives easier.
We're trying to.
All together. So nobody could complain and say the whole process of paying your taxes or dealing with Inland Revenue is a hassle anymore. Y'all are online. Y'all give all the options. Y'all could pay in cash, check, credit card. Y'all could go online, sign up. Y'all could call, email, visit. I love it.
And the checks are made out to the accountant general.
So we have a question here from a viewer that's coming in to us from YouTube, and the person is asking, if a business is licensed in St. Kitts, can it operate in Nevis, or does it need a business license specifically for Nevis?
It would need its own business license.
Okay.
So to open up a business if you already have a business in St. Kitts and you'd like to operate in Nevis, you'd have to apply for a business license. You would have to go
to the Inland Revenue Department in Nevis and do that registration, because the establishment is over there.
Okay.
And your taxes will have to be filed over there.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to do it from St. Kitts?
No.
So it would be registered as a new business in Nevis?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Your taxes have to be filed over there as well.
Okay. Which makes sense because you're in Nevis.
Okay.
Yes.
So any additional information that you guys want to leave the listeners and viewers with before we end our segment?
Well,
when I get in the app.
Before, besides the app. Before you two ladies up front speak, my friend in the back who is playing shy, I want her to answer this question, because I don't understand the shyness. I don't. So leave the listeners and viewers with some information, some tips, anything that you want to leave them from the Inland Revenue Department.
Okay, well, just to recap a bit, the deadline is fast approaching. It's Wednesday, the 31st of March, 2021. So if you didn't receive your remittance in the mail, you can always come into the department, request a form, and you'll pay. The interest and penalties, if you're late, $50 for the first day, cap it off to $100 monthly, plus 1% interest per month, plus a 10% late payment penalty on the tax once you're late.
So people, you hear that?
Avoid that.
Please.
Yes, come on time. You have.
Y'all don't want, remember we are in a panorama. Y'all don't want to have to spend no extra money.
Every bit counts.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, the deadline is next week, Wednesday.
Yes.
Well,
Cash is open from 8 to 3,
Yes.
so you can come between 8 to 3. Anytime over.
I don't know what to tell you.
And also, if you cannot make that payment,
Mhm.
we're asking you to come and say something.
What you could actually let y'all know that we're not able to this month, or we're having an emergency, or whatever the case is.
Even if we
Yeah,
have
so
to make
understanding.
sure put in place a payment plan,
Mhm.
we just ask you just do not come.
Communicate
And say something, and then we'll be able to sit down with you and make it pocket friendly that you can probably pay it in pieces. Yes, that you won't receive the business license right away because you have to complete the payment, but
at
just know
least-
that you're paying something.
Mhm. At least you have an option.
Yes.
And it just doesn't sit there and you have rollover
And leave
fees
it
and all of
piling
that.
up.
Yeah, because remember, jail is involved too. And
we don't want that.
Nobody wants to go to jail right now.
No.
But ladies, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all this well-needed information. I'm pretty sure our listeners and viewers are happy to hear from you guys and happy to know that there's so many options when it comes to paying and dealing with inland revenue and your taxes and all of that. So thank you so much, and be sure to come back and tell us when this app is up, because we're looking forward to that especially.
Yes, thanks for having us as well.
Yeah, one app.
Kevon wants his app. I hope y'all heard it.
We will let you know, Kevon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a good day.
ladies.
You're welcome.
You as well.
Thank you.
So, Kevon, you hear that? The app is coming. The app is coming. Get burgers out. What? Oh. Oh, no, ladies. It's okay. Not you guys. Go back and save the world with taxes. Yes, so Kevon, again, for the listeners and viewers listening or watching, remember to pay your taxes. Go down to the Inland Revenue Department. You have until Wednesday to deal with this. After that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so. An app.
But Kevon, this morning I woke up and I saw this little chatter about I saw this little chatter about this new article that we're about to read. And you know what's funny? Before I went to sleep last night, right? Maybe it was a premonition, but I actually had a thought about an earthquake.
Maybe it's your fault.
Maybe because I swear to the universe and whoever is listening that I thought about earthquakes right before I went to bed, and I woke up and there was an earthquake. I need to think about being rich, because clearly
You're going to be the premonition lady, Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo was a fraud.
May one. Fraud?
Yeah, I don't want to be Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo was fraudulent.
So on tea time, part 2, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake jolted the region at almost 1 a.m. This morning, which was approximately at 12:51 a.m. Today. So according to the UV Seismic Research Center, the quake center was located at latitude 16.70 north and longitude 60.75 west at a depth of 10 kilometers. The trembler, I don't know if that's supposed to be that. I don't know these words. Yeah, the trembler. Miss Edmead would be proud. It occurred at 101 kilometers northeast from Guadeloupe and 130 kilometers southeast from St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda, and 171 kilometers northeast of Dominica. So residents in the Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Vincent and the Grenadines area reported having felt the tremor.
St. Kitts too? I
don't
don't understand how to forget, because the first place I found out about this was in my group chat. Like there were people in my group chat that actually felt it. I didn't feel it because I was sleeping.
Yeah, so
But
the thing is, I just hardly ever feel earthquakes
Me
because
too.
I don't know. I'm just always in motion when they're happening. So
Well, I
don't
wasn't
ever
in
really feel
motion.
them.
I was literally asleep, but I usually just wake up and see that we had earthquakes. I've probably felt 2 in my lifetime. One of them I was asleep as well, and it woke me up. But I was like, whatever gonna happen, because I tired, so I'm not moving. So, but I didn't feel this one. Other people felt it, but not me, which good because I was trying to get some rest. So, yikes. Actually, right before I went to sleep, I thought about an earthquake and a tsunami because I remember.
So this is your fault.
It was. I don't know where the thought came from. I think I was remembering a conversation I had with somebody, and they were talking about what we could do in case of a tsunami. So randomly, right before I went to sleep, I just thought about it, and I thought about an earthquake, which weird. And then I woke up to see that an earthquake actually happened. Yikes.
Ouch. But it's there's no reports of it causing any damage, at least as of now, or anything that's should be
Cause for
concerning
concern?
over the next few hours or so.
Well,
So,
there was no tsunami warnings. There
good
was no
news.
loud horns or whatever the sound is. I can't remember. I can't really describe the sound, but I heard it before. There was none of that. We didn't get any
Yeah, the
messages.
nice big siren.
The nice big sign. We didn't get any messages. I remember recently there was a test done from disaster management, I think it was. Let me see if I could find it. Oh, it was from NEMA. It says this is a test, Carib wave tsunami test. That scared a lot of people because all they saw was tsunami and NEMA. And they thought actually that something was happening, but thankfully there was nothing happening. So yeah, we had a little earthquake. But what else is on the?
But we have to, as usual, when we always talk about things like this, we have to encourage you to prepare.
Yes.
Always prepare because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's coming
Exactly.
your way.
Because
remember we saw a tsunami happen a while back, but it was still recent enough, and
that I remember for sure.
A giant earthquake occurred, and then a few hours later there was a tsunami that hit the coast of the countries in the yourself. Get all your always be prepared.
Put your stuff, yes.
And
have your emergency bag.
Always have an emergency bag.
And make sure you plan out your route just in case.
But set reminders in your phone. You have a phone, and your phone could do a lot more. Just set a reminder in your phone. It could go off every month to, do your bag. You could pack everybody sure have those drawstring bags that we get for free because everybody just give them out. Flow, Digicel, everybody give us some drawstring bag, and I'm sure we have at home. It could be that. It could be a gym duffel bag. It could be any kind of bag, a small suitcase, something. Pack it with stuff. Your passport in Ziploc bags. Some cash on hand Ziploc bags.
Your medication.
Your personal documents. Some medication, and then like I said, every month, pack it with clothes and make sure everything is in Ziploc bags because you never know if you're gonna encounter water and damp things are not very effective. Some matches, all that stuff. And every month you still reminding your phone when the reminder goes off, you could just go wash the clothes so they stay fresh, so they don't get all, musty and moldy. Wash the clothes every month. Put them right back in the bag when they're done. You could
check to make sure that the things
check to make sure everything good.
Yeah, like your flashlights.
If you have matches,
check your batteries
swap
and
them out.
stuff.
Swap them out every so often because matches get stale and stop striking after a while. Check your batteries. All these small things. Make sure your flashlight's still working because unfortunately we're in March.
Yeah.
And
the
hurricane season is soon upon us.
I don't even want to think about it, but we have to. And also look out for your updates.
So we have to be prepared.
Yeah, and look out for your updates from NEMA. They're supposed to be sending out stuff to keep you abreast of what's happening when it comes to disasters and how to manage them. So NEMA, make sure you send the citizens the necessary information that they need in case of anything because, you are one of the lines of defense in our country when it comes to these type of stuff. So Yeah. Be prepared, people. Hurricane season is literally right there. It's right there. I'm so annoyed, but anyway, we have to deal with this as well.
Keep locked to follow NEMA on whatever platforms they're available on. You could do it on Facebook, whoever.
Let me see if
I don't know where they're available, to be honest.
Oh yes, they are actually on Facebook as NEMA SKN. That is NEMA SKN.
So follow them on Facebook and turn on for them. So every time they post something, you get it straight right away, and you could check to see if it pertains. It's not a bad idea to always be informed, because being the last is not always a great.
Yeah, I don't want to be caught off guard, but yeah. So follow all your news sources and see what they're saying. But Kevon, we have a caller. Caller, good. Oh nope. Well,
caller, of course, as always, feel free to call back. But just try. Just get your notifications on. Do everything. These as a lot of updates are happening in terms of natural disasters. They haven't been disastrous yet,
and they're going to be more frequent because
St. Vincent.
Okay,
right. We see St. Vincent with the volcano situation. We haven't called back.
Yes, we have a call. Caller, good morning.
Good morning. Can I comment on the report that you had on this morning's link up? No?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm sure everyone is kind of flabbergasted by that report. To me, it highlights the lack of coordination in the Caribbean, which seems to be mirroring what other regions in the world, like the EU, is having as well. Right? It's almost like everyone for himself. And we have this mismatch of protocols and vaccination rollouts. It's absolutely crazy. You know who is the Prime Minister for Health in the Caribbean region, in CARICOM? I think it's our Prime Minister.
Okay.
Right? And while he could have been excused when he was distracted by the election campaign last year, I don't think there's that excuse now. I think he should have taken the lead in the region for the regional COVID response and coordinate the vaccination process at the policy level. Okay, I'm not talking about down to the levels of like the CMO and that sort of thing. Okay, so that the vaccinations that we get go to the people who need it most, and we don't have all this vaccination politics, one island giving the other, and you have donors selectively giving gifts, and then these gifts are themselves gifted. It's a whole mess. Right, and I think somebody needs to be responsible for, for the whole coordination of the COVID response in the region. Okay, and finally, I was somewhat surprised when you were talking about Beckles this morning. You made a point that the young people, the students, are supposed to be essentially driving.
No. That's not what I said. I didn't say that the students are supposed to be. I'm saying that there could be a chance where students see these things happening and decide to take it upon themselves to join the fight and to, pick a side. I'm not saying that they're supposed to be the people in charge of this, because that's not their job. They're students. They're supposed to go to school, but these things can affect them because it's their school.
Right, and one of the things that they're planning to introduce is a hefty increase in fees,
which will affect them.
Exactly, but didn't you make the point though that normally the young people are the ones who want to do things right?
No,
I'm
saying that
sure
I'm saying more and more young people are seeing these things happening and choosing to do things like these things, like having protests and stuff, because usually it's adults doing these things, but now we're seeing, and I made the example using CFB because we recently saw CFBC students doing this protest against.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that they are usually the
Yeah.
ones. I'm
Well,
saying
that-
that
that-
more
I
and
think was
more
the point.
now.
That was the point I was making, that generally speaking, the young people drive change. And so I listened to you yesterday as well with Ambassador Kondo. And one of the things you seem to have been suggesting, correct me if I'm wrong, is that politics and politicians seem to be synonymous with corruption these days. And
No,
I don't
I'm
think
saying
that it's
I'm
not-
not saying it's. I'm saying that we've seen that there are a lot of instances where a lot of governments or politicians are corrupted. Not saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that it's unlikely for you to find, besides Singapore, who is doing a great job, it's unlikely for you to find a government or some sort of government institution where there is not some form of level of corruption.
And that should be eradicated wherever
Yes,
possible.
of course it should be.
Right.
But in
Okay.
reality,
Well, that's the whole point. The young people are supposed to drive a change in towards better. I think that is the net result of, well, that's what I got from everything. It's be it students, be it young people, they are the ones who are supposed to tell the adults, essentially, we're not going to do the foolishness that you do, and we're going to make things better. One last thing, is Azem on vacation?
no, Azem is out for the week, but he will be back next week.
Next week? Oh, okay. All right. Have a good day.
You
We
as
just
well.
get vacation here?
Not to my
This
knowledge.
is the radio. There's no vacation.
Well,
We just
except
on the-
except for next week when we have the little Easter break. I don't know about you, but I don't.
Excuse
plan
me?
to be- I don't know. I said I don't know about you, but I don't plan to be here next week on my little Easter break. I plan to stay home and sleep.
So
finally.
Okay, no problem.
For
Say
one day.
less.
You know what? I take it back. We're gonna pick a day.
Nope. Not happening. Not happening. My devices are dead in advance.
Dead in advance. They're going to sign a petition, Kevon. They're going to sign a petition and say that we need Island Tea on the holidays because more people are home and they want to listen to us.
We only get holidays. We only get holidays when there's an actual public holiday. And then even so people just text me, oh, no tea today. And I'm just like, you at work today?
But we must be.
No. So why should I?
Man. Anyway.
Go listen to an old episode.
Thank you. A matter of fact, go listen to all the episodes that we brought up before. We should play one on Monday. We're going to pick
We're
two
gonna
episodes to
play
replay.
last week.
Yes, we're going to replay 2 episodes for the holidays, so y'all won't miss us too much. But y'all could find all of our old episodes on WINNMedia SK and on Facebook, WINNMedia SK and on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram. You can also, if you have Twitch and Periscope, we're now there as well. Imagine.
And SoundCloud? We're on SoundCloud too, right?
Yes.
We're on SoundCloud, so we're
Azem
everywhere.
is being an avenger and he's saving the world from corruption. That's what he said to tell you also.
Yes. So I'm currently in space, and
And
Azem
he's-
is currently handling corruption on Earth. So, have no fear, for Island Tea is here.
That should be our intro. Have no fear, Island Tea is here. But Kevon, the clock on the wall is telling us that it's 10 o'clock. So you know what that means?
It's time.
It is time. But
It
before...
means that Sandra's coming in to views.
Yes, and I don't... And because it's only me here, I don't want Sandra to push me down. So I don't have the backative. So let me just play our good friend Amali's outro. And then we will...
Please drive safely and do right by others. Please use our roundabouts correctly. Meaning, don't overtake in our roundabouts. Don't switch lanes in our roundabouts. And when you're exiting, please indicate so that folks driving behind you can know what your intentions are. It will reduce accidents and almost accidents by significant proportions.
Stay in your lane, people.
Stay in your lane figuratively and
literally.
Also, please let us remember to park our vehicles in a manner which is conducive to the collection of garbage from our friends at Solid Waste. If you park your cars irresponsibly, then people can get their garbage collected with the trucks.
Clean.
So gentlemen, when you're thieving a piece, please park around the corner.
Right.
So the truck can get up the street or where your madam lives to collect her trash.
Indeed. It might work out better for you too.
Indeed, it's going to be a clean environment when you get there the next time. Also, let us please, put pressure on our lawmakers and our policy makers and our policy designers and wheelers and dealers in Parliament to take a look at our outdated laws, all of them, the traffic laws, the sexual assault laws, the everything as it relates to, so that they can relate to current day life and current day society here in St Kitts and Nevis. Update them so it's a reflection of what's actually happening and not what used to happen in the 1960s. And with that, I will turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, His Excellency Honorable Kevon Hanley.
Mr. Fetvan, you have the
Because
floor.
remember,
No, start over.
you can't be everybody.
No. Today's Friday.
Remember.
Thank you.
That you can't be everyone's cup of tea because you is not a mug. And the is intentional because somebody tell me I just said wrong things on the air. And I'm like, but I think I would know that. But it's intentional. It's a quote from my friend Queenie, who's Jamaican. So you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug.
See
you on Monday.
Yes, see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend.